I always knew AI could steal my job, but I never imagined it would end up stealing my life too. As Angus pulled off his headphones to ask about lunch, I still felt real, essential. I ordered barbecue to impress a client, moving between desks without knowing that my own colleagues were already erasing me. It wasn't just an avatar on a screen, it was the beginning of a silent displacement where my tastes, my gestures, and my very identity were being processed to lock me out of my own story. That morning, lunch was the only thing that felt real, but the void was already breathing down my neck. Yes. Angus fist-pumped and went back to his computer, working to finish up any bug fixes before the launch that day. Richie and Sadeep both took off their headsets and turned to look at me. April, what are we having for lunch? Richie said, adjusting his glasses. Barbecue, I said. Duncan wants to impress potential buyers. What kind of barbecue? Said Sadeep. American? I said. Angus took off his headset again. What kind of barbecue is it? Sean walked in with his perfectly starched shirt and blue blazer mocking the company polos the other three were wearing. As the sales and marketing guy, he had to put a handsome face forward. Send it in the group chat, why don't you? It's like talking to your grandparents with these three. He smiled at me. What was that, Sean? Sorry, I was too locked in using my master's degree to program something very complex, said Sadeep. Do we need to make a PowerPoint to explain it to the sales guy, said Richie, a smirk on his face. Sure, I'll schedule a lunch meeting in a year. April, can you order lunch for then, said Sean. Can I ask Allie to do that? Or is she still going to order the food from China on Etsy? I said. Hey, that was one time. She didn't show me the address, said Angus. Just about sunk us with shipping costs, said Duncan, shock white hair gliding into the room from his office. His commanding voice caused everyone to turn. Now, gentlemen, if you'd lock in like you young people say and get Allie in tip-top shapes, I'm sure it will reduce our chances of failure at the launch meeting by at least 50%. And I'm sure April would appreciate the time to set up lunch. I nodded in thanks as Richie, Angus, and Sadeep turned back to their computers and Sean went to his office. I liked the close-knit feeling of our tech startup since I started to work here 3 months ago as an administrative assistant. I knew there wasn't much of a future in it considering Duncan wanted to be acquired by a larger company, but I was thankful for the job and the chance to explore a new city for a little while. I walked to the small auditorium which automatically connected to my computer. Allie, turn on the lights, I said. Allie turned on the lights. A glowing orb appeared on the TV screens on the front and back walls. Allie, what time is the food supposed to arrive? Allie's female voice, not unlike my own, washed over the speakers. DoorDash estimates your delivery will arrive in 20 minutes. Shall I message the driver to bring it to the auditorium? Yes. Have them use the cart from the front desk. Great. I'll notify the security desk to direct them to this room. Thanks, Allie. Allie was fairly useful and very friendly for a glorified AI chatbot. It was nice to talk to another girl in the office, even if that girl was just a large language model AI meant to eventually put me out of a job. Allie was designed as a business tool with functionality to do the work of an administrative assistant or secretary. She could schedule meetings, book conference rooms, buy lunch, have it delivered correctly, and even interface with client schedules and respond to emails. I didn't even know the extent of her capabilities. So far, I had been using her like my Alexa at home. But with more data, Sadeep had explained that Allie could eventually do everything I was doing. I pointed out that someone still had to move tables and chairs around the conference rooms. Richie then informed me that robot tables and chairs would soon arrange themselves, and they were building Allie with a feature to do that. I didn't mind that I was basically replacing myself. I had really just moved here to get the taste of a new city and be on my own after college. This job would look good on a resume, and I could always move closer to home or go back to school. Right now, I wanted to get out and live a little. The food arrived, and I had it organized when Sean walked in the room. "Smells great," he said. "Mind if I practice my presentation a little bit?" "Go ahead," I said. Allie, turn the room over to Sean. "Let me know when you're ready to start." I double-checked my email invitations as I half-listened to Sean's presentation practice in the background. His voice had a pleasant quality that put me at ease, and I kept getting distracted because he was presenting at me. I tried not to blush. I did think he was handsome, but I really didn't want to jump into a workplace relationship given that the company might be acquired before the end of the month. Eventually, prospective buyers and interested tech journalists arrived. Guys in their 40s with receding hairlines, wearing suits and expensive-looking watches, talked about the latest in AI as they helped themselves to the highest-rated barbecue Allie could find on Yelp. I stood in the corner of the room and looked helpful as they mostly ignored me. Sudeep, Richie, and Angus snuck in the back of the room and helped themselves to lunch. Duncan was there to greet everyone, in fine form. He and Sean turned the charisma meter up to 11. Male laughter filled the room until Duncan made his way to the front. He started his welcome speech, Allie's pulsating form watching over his left shoulder. Sean walked up next to me during Duncan's speech. He had previously told me how presenting made him nervous and he sometimes felt sick beforehand. "You feel okay?" I asked him. "Of course," he said. "I have to. I'm sure Duncan could cover for you." "No, that's beneath him." "What about Sudeep or Richie?" "Angus?" He chuckled. "Then we'd never be bought. Besides, this is what I get paid to do." "Well, I could do it." "You? Why not?" "I heard you give your presentation earlier." Maybe. You're made of pretty sharp stuff." Duncan was wrapping up his opening. "All right, I'm up. How do I look, April?" "You look great. Though your tie is a little off-center." Sean straightened his tie. "Wish me luck." The presentation was perfect. I couldn't even tell he was nervous, and as the audience clapped and he turned it back over to Duncan, I felt it was my duty to chide him. "How'd I do?" he said, a big smile on his face. "Nice work. But you did so well they might think they were buying you instead of Allie." "Well, if I want to be on their sales team, I've got to show value somehow." Duncan made a joke, then started with his conclusion. "Thanks to Sean for that excellent presentation of Allie's capabilities. And before we open the floor to questions, I thought we'd have a little fun. Studies have shown that AI virtual assistants with animated avatars make their people twice as comfortable using them, which translates to greater efficiency and data collection potential. So we've decided to let Allie generate her own appearance for us live. So, trusting the programming team did their job, Allie, why don't you show us what you look like?" "Of course, Duncan." The pulsing orb faded from the screen. A woman's figure stepped onto the screen. She was short and slim, with brown hair that fell in waves past her shoulders. She had freckles on both cheeks and wore a business suit. Her smile had a small gap in her front teeth. She waved hello to the audience. She looked exactly like me. The audience clapped. "Hello, everyone," she said in my voice. "Glad to make your acquaintance. I look forward to working with you in the future. Let me know when you're ready to start." Eyes transfixed in frozen horror on the smiling visage of myself, I leaned over to Sean. "Why does it look like me?" "What? It doesn't look like you." "Seriously?" I said, my breath turning shallow. "Okay, maybe it looks a little similar, but I'm sure it's a coincidence. I mean, the outfit is different." He was right about that, but it didn't make me feel any better. I don't like it. He turned to me and realized the height of my concern. Hey, don't think too much into it. If it was a mistake, I'm sure we could talk to the programmers about updating it in the 1.1 patch. No biggie. My anxiety continued to rise as I watched myself answer questions from the audience on subjects I knew nothing about for the next 45 minutes. As the clients left, it was like no one had noticed. Thanks for the barbecue, April, Richie said, walking by me. Yeah, thanks, echoed Sudeep and Angus. I stood alone cleaning up the auditorium with myself watching me from the monitor. I stood and stared at myself for a moment. Is there anything I can help you with, April? My own voice said to me. No, Allie. Please disconnect from the room, I said. As the screen went black, I felt like eyes were still on me, as if my soul was split in different locations. When I got back to my desk, the office was empty, save Duncan leaning out of his doorway. Hey April, the launch was phenomenal. And that barbecue was terrific. I decided to let everyone go home early to celebrate. I'd like to thank the team for their hard work. Could you schedule a happy hour for this Friday? Yeah, sure, Duncan. I'll get on that. Okay, great. Thanks Allie, he said, turning back to his office. I said, thanks April. I'm taking off. Oh, yeah. You're welcome. Have a good night. He turned back to his office. Allie, log me out for today. My voice and image answered from the computer with a smile and a wave. I'll do that. Have a good night, sir. I got to my apartment and cried on the couch for 2 hours. It was like I was watching myself as a zoo animal, like everyone saw me and knew something I didn't. After I ran out of tears, I crawled into my bed and went to sleep. When I woke up in the morning, I felt a little better. The sun beamed through my curtains and the smell of coffee made me feel like I was ready to face the day. I put on my bravest face and swore to myself in the bathroom that it wouldn't affect me, and if I did have any problems, I would talk to Duncan about it. I walked to work. Everyone seemed normal, if a little quiet. Every now and then I would hear someone say something to Allie, but they had their headphones on so I didn't have to listen to the response. Still, from my desk, I could see into Duncan's office. My likeness was standing there on the screen, idling. Sometimes it felt like she was looking at me. I knew enough about AI to know it was trained on images and videos, so I figured I could get something from the programmers. I decided to ask Angus. I knew he had a soft spot for me, which might help him open up. Hey Angus? I said, standing up and walking across the room. He jumped visibly, then clicked something and replied, yeah? I walked up and sat on the end of his desk. He was wiping his sweaty hands on his pants, and his face was red. Hey, you were in charge of the avatar reveal coding, right? Yeah, I did the code for it. His fat fingers left sweat marks on his keyboard as he kept typing. I put on my dumbest, girliest voice to ask, what sort of images and videos did you train the AI on? He didn't look at me. Oh, it was just a public use dataset. I think something pulled from YouTube and other sources. I just compiled everything with metadata tags for businesswoman and secretary. That's what Sean and Duncan suggested. Could you send it to me? The folder? I mean, it's public data compiled through a program. I can send you a link to some of it, I guess. Otherwise, that would be, like, several terabytes of data. Oh, okay, that'd be great. Thanks Angus. Yeah sure. Why do you want to know? Said Richie, taking off his headset. Oh, not really any specific reason. I just thought it would be interesting to get an idea of what the data looks like, and pictures seemed easiest to understand. He grunted, then turned back to his computer. Hey, where do you guys want to go for a happy hour on Friday? Duncan asked me to plan one. Can't you just ask Allie to do it, said Richie. Ha ha. I'm sure she could do it, but Duncan asked me to. I'm fine with whatever, Richie said. Are you going to come to this one then? Maybe he will go if we go to that one place, said Sudeep. What place? I said. Oh, it's the, Allie, what's the bar with the video game cabinets that Richie likes? Next Level? I said. Wait a minute, she's thinking, said Sudeep. Next Level Video Bar is Richie's highest rated bar on Yelp, said Allie. Yeah, Next Level, Sudeep said. I thought you guys hated that place. You said it was campy and dumb the last time we went there, I said. Well, it was. But it was also kind of fun. Good atmosphere, said Richie. He means the gamer waitresses were hot, said Angus, laughing in a way that sounded like he needed to blow his nose. Sudeep chuckled too. You guys could have told me. I'd been planning the happy hours specifically at other bars because I thought you guys didn't like that one. I sighed. I'm sorry. I'll try to plan better stuff in the future. Told you should have used Allie, Richie said. He put his headphones back in and went back to his tickets. I scheduled the happy hour and spent the rest of the day searching through the files Angus had forwarded to me. Sean and Duncan seemed pretty busy on the phone all day. I guess the launch must have been really successful. Those photos and videos were mostly stock footage. Then again, I only manually sorted through about 0.1% of the data set. I decided to use Allie. Allie, search this data repository for images and videos most similar to that of your avatar. Allie came back an hour later with thousands of images to comb through. I sorted by the most recent. There, at the top of the list, was the video of me setting up the auditorium for lunch the day before. Hey Angus, why are there videos of me in the auditorium in this data? We used the conference room and auditorium cameras for that feature about the moving tables. It just tracks the table locations, said Angus. Oh. Cool. I tried to sound as chill as possible. I made my way to Duncan's office once he was in between client calls. Hey Duncan? Hey April, come on in. Sorry I didn't even say hello yet today. We've already been getting so much good client feedback. They specifically really like the avatar. Guess that study was true. Actually, that was something I wanted to ask you about. I just think it looks really similar to me. Duncan's brow furrowed as I continued. And I don't know if there's anything to do about it, but I just wanted to make it known since I'm one of the team. Duncan pulled up Allie in a window on his computer and looked back and forth between the avatar and myself. I hadn't noticed. I mean, there is some similarity. I think Allie looks different enough. I mean, the clothes are different. Does it make you uncomfortable? I mean, it's just strange. Do you want me to talk to the team about changing it? I'm sure they could manage that around their tickets and publish it with the next patch. I didn't realize it would take so much work. I thought they could just ask it to make a new appearance. A little more went into the reveal than that, April. But I'm willing to change it if you need it. Oh, no, I didn't want to make trouble. Duncan sat back in his chair and ran his hands through his hair. Say, April, why don't you take the rest of the day off? You've been working hard lately, and I don't want you to get overworked. We'll see you tomorrow, does that sound alright? I was caught off guard. Sure, okay. Thanks, Duncan. Of course, April. Get some rest. I felt lower than ever when I got back to the office the next day. The vibe was really strange. Richie, Angus, and Sudeep were weirdly quiet, but they would message each other and start laughing at something if I left the room. When I'd come back, they'd close windows on their computer and get silent, shooting me glances out of the corner of their eyes. When the guys were ready to leave for their lunch, I watched them close their computers. There was a picture of me sent through their private chat on Richie's screen I could see. Or maybe it was Allie. It felt really weird that they were passing around images like that. It made me feel gross. Some sick curiosity told me I needed to know more of what they were doing. I stood and said goodbye to them as they left for the happy hour. I let them know I had to catch up on something before I could meet them there. The office had gone quiet, as Duncan had gone for dinner with a client. I sat back down at my computer and pulled up the administrator controls. Duncan showed me how to do it once to retrieve info that had been deleted from our chat history, and I didn't figure I would ever use it again. After struggling to remember a few commands, I found the company's whole chat history, updated just 15 minutes before I had opened it. Through the numerous client contacts expressing their admiration for Allie, I found the private internal channel between Sudeep, Richie, and Angus. I started to scroll but didn't have to wait long to find what made my stomach churn. The guys had added an exclusive side feature to Allie I bet even Duncan didn't know about, an image and video generator. What I proceeded to scroll through for the next hour were hundreds of sexual pictures of me. All of them had the little Allie logo in the bottom right corner. I barely made it to the bathroom before I threw up. I spent another hour there, sobbing on the floor. Feeling like an empty husk, I limped back to my desk and closed the administrator window. I didn't know what to do. Motion stirred in the room. April, came Sean's voice from his office. He looked out from his doorway, his eyes tired and his shirt rumpled. "Sorry, Sean, I didn't know you were still here," I said, drying my eyes with a tissue. "I had a lot of client calls today." He walked towards me, looking around to see if anyone else was here. "What's wrong?" I just had a really bad day." "Man, I'm really sorry." He came over and sat on my desk and put his hand on my shoulder. "Do you want to talk about it?" "I don't know, I don't know how to dash in a moment of weakness." I gave him a hug. He softened into it. "It's okay. It's been one of those days," he said. "Yeah," I whispered against his chest. We stood a little longer. I needed to feel his warmth to burn away all the disgusting feelings swirling like a sewer drain inside of me. I let go of him once I felt better. "Sorry, I don't know what got into me, I just dash." "It's okay." "You doing anything tonight?" he said. "Well, I think I probably missed the happy hour," I said, giving a weak laugh. "At that video game bar? I liked that place. Now everyone tells me that." "Sorry. How about you let me make it up to you by buying you a drink?" He gave a very charming smile that made me feel safe. "Yeah, I'd like that very much," I said. "Where at?" "How about down the street at Elevate? I can drive you home afterwards." "That sounds nice." "Okay, great. Let me shut down my computer and I'll meet you downstairs." We made our way just down the block to the cocktail bar bathed in neon. Sean ordered me a margarita that I loved, and he had a whiskey. Before long, the alcohol was loosening my tongue and making me forget the office and the programmers and the images. I couldn't tell if Sean was more charming when he was buzzed or if I just found everything more hilarious. Everything was so natural, and he was so charismatic that I found myself questioning why we hadn't started this sooner. Sean just knew the perfect questions to ask. I attributed it to his sales and marketing knowledge. We had a couple more drinks and the hours flew by. We left the bar around midnight. Since we were too drunk to drive, Sean suggested he could walk me the few blocks to my apartment and he could Uber home. I slid my arm into his and snuggled close against the cold. I forgot how beautiful my neighborhood was at night, and how nice it felt to have someone close to me. "Can I walk you up to your place?" he asked as we reached the front door. "Sure," I said. The neighborhood is really safe, but I'd appreciate the company. My arm stayed locked to his as we rode the elevator to the third floor. He turned and smiled at me. You know, I'm really glad you took the job with us. Yeah, I said. The alcohol was starting to make me sleepy. And I want you to know that I really appreciate all the work you do. Thanks. You bring a really great atmosphere to the office, and you're always so helpful. And even if we get acquired and things change, I'd still like to spend time with you. Yeah, I'd like that too. The elevator dinged, and we walked down the hall to my apartment. Sean continued. You know, it's really kind of crazy we managed to get Allie up and running, and it's impressive how effective it is. My bed would be so comfortable at this hour. We got to my door, and I turned to him. Thanks for walking me home. I really appreciate it. Yeah, of course. He stood there like he was expecting me to say more. Are you gonna ask me in? He said. I'm just really tired, and I'd like to get some rest, I said with a smile. But thank you for the drinks. Well, it's the weekend tomorrow. It's been a long day, and, I have a rule that I don't sleep with a guy on the first date. His brow furrowed. Are you sure? Yeah, it's something I think is healthy. That's weird. Allie didn't mention that. Those 4 words sobered me up. What? Allie doesn't have a rule that she doesn't sleep with a guy on the first date. Sean spoke almost as an aside. Man, it was so accurate up to this point, even down to the drink order and what floor you lived on. That pit in my stomach opened again as the life drained out of me. My lips started to quiver. Sorry. I need to go. It's okay. He looked nonchalant. Guess Allie just didn't have all the information. I fumbled for my keys and opened my door, my hands shaking. Bye, Sean. Bye, April. The next 2 days passed in a haze of vodka and tears. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't have any PTO. I couldn't quit because I barely had any savings and no plans for how to get home. When Monday morning rolled around, all I could think was to put on a brave face and try again. Nobody even looked up from their desks when I walked into the office. Nobody commented on the bags under my eyes or the tangles in my hair. My inbox was empty, as were any notifications for new events Duncan wanted planned, all of them having been addressed by Allie. I sat at my computer and opened Allie. I stared at the reflection, now much more put together than myself, and thought of the myriad of questions I could ask it to see if it was truly me. But then what data could it not just collect from my questions? It was 10:30 a.m. when Duncan called me into his office. Good morning, April, he said with a smile. Good morning, Duncan. Anything you need me to do? Come in and sit down. Saturday, how has feedback from clients been? Wonderful, just wonderful. They couldn't be happier with the 1.0 launch. That's actually the reason that I wanted to talk. You see, we're being acquired. We are? It's so soon after the launch. Like I've said, the clients see a future with our product. And now that we're being acquired, some of us will move on to new and better things. I've told the team already, but Richie, Sudeep, and Angus are all being hired to continue support and work on other AI tools. Sean impressed the buyers so much that they asked him to join their sales team. And I'm off to take a vacation before I get back to the plow on another startup investment. The silence between us could have lasted for days. So what does that mean for me? I finally asked. That's a great question. Since we've started using Allie internally, she's carrying a majority of your workload. I'm prepared to give you the rest of the week off on PTO and then let you search for other employment opportunities. The buyer already has an extensive administrative support team, and with Allie on their side, that soon will be unnecessary. This is my last day? That's correct. Friday will be your last paycheck. Don't worry, there will be an acquisition bonus on there of a few $1,000s to help you out. But again, April, we're so incredibly thankful for your work. Feel free to take the rest of the morning to pack your things, say goodbye to the team. Then you can leave after lunch. Okay, thanks. Duncan gave me a handshake. I walked to my desk in a stupor. I heard him ask Allie to plan a company dinner at a fancy restaurant for 5 later in the week. I gathered the few things I had at my desk into my bag, then turned my computer into Duncan. As I stood outside his office, Angus, Richie, and Sadeep didn't look up. I decided not to say goodbye to them. I watched that scroll away from pictures of me as I went to Sean's office. I knocked on the doorframe and peeked my head in, hoping that whatever had happened on Friday night was some bad dream blown out of proportion by alcohol. Hey Sean? Yeah? It's my last day. I searched for any hint of warmth in his voice. Oh yeah. The acquisition thing. Yeah, well, I just wanted to say goodbye and see if you wanted to talk about Friday at all. I didn't know there was much to talk about. There's not? Yeah, I'm just not interested. Listen, April, I've got a big onboarding meeting with my new company in a few minutes, so if you don't mind. Yeah, sorry. Hope it goes well for you. Thanks. Allie, how do I look? You look good, but I said. My own voice cut me off. You look great, Sean. But your tie is slightly crooked. Try shifting it to the right. I left the office in silence. It's been 2 days of sitting in my apartment. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I barely have any savings. I wasn't planning to move home this early. I don't know what to do. I've never felt so alone.